Hello everyone. This is your healer Ritika Jaiswal. I welcome you all in the book reading session of Autobiography of a Yogi. So today we'll be covering chapter 10 of Autobiography of a Yogi. And yes, as we had decided, it'll be once a week we'll be covering one chapter of Autobiography of a Yogi. So let's begin. Today we'll be covering chapter 10. Yes. So this 10th chapter, after meeting, so many gurus, so many saints, scientists, experts, he has finally come to meet his master, Sri Yukteswar ji. So let's begin. Faith in God can produce any miracles except one passing an examination without study. Distasteful, I closed the book I had picked up an idle moment. The writer's exception shows his complete lack of faith. I thought, poor chap, he has great respect for the midnight oil. My promise to father had been that I would complete my high school studies. I cannot pretend diligence. The passing months found me less frequently in the classroom than in secluded spots along the Calcutta bathing ghats. The adjoining crematory grounds, especially gruesome at night, are considered highly attractive by the yogi. He who finds the deathless essence must not be gruesome at night are considered highly attractive by the yogi. He who would find the deathless essence must not be dismayed by a few unadorned skulls. Human inadequacy becomes clear in the gloomy abode of miscellaneous bones. My midnight vigils were thus of different nature from the scholars. The week of final examination at the Hindu high school was fast approaching. This interrogatory period, like the sepulchral haunts, inspires a well known terror. My mind was nevertheless at peace. Braving the gauls, I was exhuming a knowledge not found in lecture halls. But it lacked the art of Swami Prabhananda, who easily appeared in two places at one time. My educational dilemma was plainly a matter for the infinite ingenuity. This was my reasoning. Though to many it seems illogical, the devotee's irrational springs from a thousand inexplicable demonstration of God's instancy in trouble. So now he's saying, faith can produce any result except passing an exam without study. So having faith in God, you can do everything. It's just that you cannot pass an exam without study. Faith will not help there. Uh, this is a very funny line because most of the time when we say no, you need to worship God. To pass exam, people worship God. So He's not going to answer your exams. He's not going to write your paper. There you need to study. So faith in God is good, but you have to do certain things to pass the exam. So over here, he's telling that he had promised his father that he'll complete his high school, and he did. And after that, he did not had much interest in studies. Usually, he was found near the Calcutta bathing ghats, seeing the scenes, people bathing in the ghats, crematory grounds. And he's also saying, yeah, that yogis get attracted to crematory grounds. Now over there, he's saying that human inadequacy becomes a clear in gloomy abode, miscellaneous board. Like usually at night, people go, yogis go there. So he again, the person who seeks God, he until and unless he gets it, he gets his answers, he's still in that quest. And it is very clearly evident that he was his that restlessness has not stopped. He's still searching something, he's still searching his guru. So he's saying he did not had the art of like Swami Prabhananda had. He can be at two places in one go. So he's saying that he did not have that art. So if he would have that art, he would have kept one of his body over there. He would have studied, and the other, he would be doing his meditations. Hello, Mukunda. I catch hardly a glimpse of you these days. A classmate accosted me one afternoon on Gurpar Road. Hello, Nantu. My invisibility at school has actually placed me there a decidedly awkward position. I unburdened myself under his friendly gaze. Nantu was a brilliant student, laughed heartily. My predicament was not without cosmic aspect. You are utterly unprepared for the finals. I suppose it is up to me to help you. The simple words conveyed divine promise to my ears. With alacrity, I visited my friend's home. He kindly outlined the solution to various problems he considered likely to be set by the instructor. These questions are the bait which will catch many trusting boys in examination trap. Remember my answers and you will escape without injury. The night was far gone when I departed. Bursting with unseasoned erudition, I devoutly prayed it would remain for the next few critical days. Nantu had coached me in my various subjects, but under press of time had forgotten my course in Sanskrit. Fervently, I reminded God of the oversight. I set out on a short I set out on a short walk the next morning, assimilating my knowledge to the rhythm of a swinging four steps. As I looked a shortcut through the weeds of a corner lot, my eyes fell on a few loose printed sheets. A triumphant pounce proved them to be Sanskrit verse. I sought out a Pandit for aid in my stumbling interpretation. His rich voice filled the air with edgeless honeyed beauty of ancient tongue. So one day he met one of his friend in the uh, Gurpa Road. And then his friend Nantu, he said, uh, we are not seeing you in the class. Finals are here. So how are you going to pass the exam? So he was a good friend. He gave him some questions. He was a brilliant student. He gave him some questions. He said, these kinds of questions will be probably asked. And, students might get trapped in these things. So you better, you know, do these questions. But he's saying that he forgot his course of Sanskrit. Now he's saying that I set out a short walk next morning, assimilating my knowledge to the rhythm of a swinging step. As I took a shortcut through Weed's Corner, my eye fell on few loose printed sheets. A triumphant pounce proved them to be Sanskrit verse. I sought out Pandit for aid in my stumbling interpretation. His rich voice filled the airs with edgeless honeyed beauty of ancient times. So while he was walking, he was going through, he got a sheet of paper, and in that there was some Sanskrit verse written over it. So he asked, he got one pandit and he asked, to explain, to tell him what is that. These exceptional stanzas cannot possibly be aid in your Sanskrit test. The scholar dismissed them skeptically. So that scholar told him that these things, these are exceptional context. It won't be asked in your Sanskrit test. But familiarity with that particular poem enabled me on the following day to pass the Sanskrit examination. Through the discerning help Nantu had given, I also attained the minimum grade for success in all my other subjects. Father was pleased that I had kept my words and concluded my secondary school course. My gratitude sped to Lord, whose sole guidance I perceived in my visit to Nandu and my walk by unhabitual route of the debris-filled lot. Playfully, he had given a dual expression of his timely design for my rescue. I came across the discarded book whose author had denied God precedence in examination halls. I could not restrain a chuckle at my own silent comment. It would only add to this fellow's confusion if I were to tell him that divine meditation among the Cavenders is a shortcut to high school diploma. In my new dignity, I was now openly planning to leave home together with young friends. Jitendra Mazumdar, I decided to join Mahamandal Hermitage in Banaras and receive its spiritual discipline. So, how God helped him, um, pass his exams. It is clearly evident over here. And yes, he passed his exam, and now he wanted to leave his home. He wanted to go to Mahamandal Hermitage in Banaras and receive his spiritual disciplines. So he wanted to go there with his one of his friends, Jitendra Mazumdar. A desolation fell over me one morning at thought of separation from my family. Since my mother's death, my affection had grown specially tender for my two younger brothers, Sananda and Vishnu. I rushed to my retreat, the little attic which had witnessed so many scenes in my turbulent sadhana. After a 2 hour flood of tears, I felt singularly transformed as by some alchemical cleanser. All attachments disappeared. My resolution to seek God as a friend of friends set like granite within me. I quickly completed my travel preparation. So before leaving for Banaras, he had this thought of how to take care of his two younger brothers, Sananda and Vishnu. And he was feeling a little bit bad of leaving his home, but he cried also a lot. Usually, it is said when you leave something or something is going out of your life, we cry. So, what is that cry? That cry is a sign of getting detached. The attachment is coming to an end. You are getting detached with that thing, with that situation. So, over here, he has also said all attachment disappeared. My resolution to seek God as a friend of friends set like granite within me. I quickly completed my travel preparation. I make one last plea. Father was distressed as I stood before him for final blessing. Do not forsake me and your grieving brothers and sisters. Revered Father, how can I tell my love for you? But even greater is my love for Heavenly Father, who has given me the gift of perfect Father on earth. Let me go that I someday return with more divine understanding. So he's telling that, he was taking his final blessings and he's saying that I'm grateful for Heavenly Father, means Father like figure God, that he has given a perfect Father on earth. And yes, he will return someday with more divine understanding. With reluctant parental consent, I set out to join Jitendra, already in Banaras at the Hermitage. On my arrival, the young head Swami Dayananda greeted me cordially. Tall and thin, of thoughtful mien, he impressed me favorably. His fair face had a Buddha-like composure. I was pleased that my new home possessed an attic where I managed to spend the dawn and morning hours. The ashram members, knowing little of meditation practices, thought I should enjoy my whole time in organizational duty. They gave me praise for my afternoon work in their office. Don't try to catch God so soon. This ridicule from fellow resident accompanied one of my early departures towards the attic. I went to Dayananda, busy in his small sanctum overlooking the Ganges. Swamiji, I don't understand what is required of me here. I am seeking a direct perception of God. Without Him, I cannot be satisfied with affiliation or creed or performance of good work. The orange robed ec- ecclesiastic gave me affectionate pat. Staging a mock rebuke, he admonished a few nearby disciples. Don't bother Mukunda, he will learn our ways. I politely concealed my doubts. The student left the room, not overly bent with the chastisement. Dayananda had further words for me. Mukunda, I see your father is regularly sending you money. Please return it to him. You require none here. A second injunction for your discipline concerns food. Even when you feel hunger, don't mention it. Whether famishment gleamed in my eye, I knew not that I was hungry. I knew only too well. The invariable hour for the first hermitage meal was 12 noon. I had accustomed in my own home to a large breakfast at 9 o'clock. So now he's saying that, over there, he went in search of God, and some someone also mocked him, like, what will you get getting God? And then one of his teachers over there said that, you should tell your father. Dayananda had a word, and he said, you should tell your father not to send you money, because whatever you need is there over here. So what he did, they had their meal at 12 o'clock over there, but at home they had a large breakfast at 9 o'clock. The 3 hour gap became daily more interminable. Gone were the Calcutta year where I could rebuke the cook for 10-minute delay. Now I tried to control my appetite. One day I undertook a 24-hour fast with double zest. I awaited the following midday. Now he is saying that, when he was in Calcutta, he had even if there was 10-minute delay in his food, so he would have rebuked over there. But now there was a 3 hour gap, and yes, he started controlling his appetite, and he took 24-hour fast. Dayanandaji's train is late. We are not going to eat until he arrives. Jitendra brought me this devastating news. As a gesture of welcome to Swami, who had been absent for 2 weeks, many delicacies were in readiness. An appetizing aroma filled the air, nothing else offering what else could be swallowed except pride over yesterday's achievement of fast. So he had fasted a day before, means of coming of the Swami, and a lot of delicacies were made, but they said that his train is late, and they will wait till Dayananda ji comes. Lord hastens the train The heavenly provider I thought was hardly included in the interdiction with which Dayananda had silenced me. Divine attention was elsewhere, however. The plodding clock covered the hours. Darkness was descending as our leader entered the door. My greeting was one of unfeigned joy. Dayananda ji will bath and meditate before we can serve food. Jitendra approached me again, a bird of ill omen. Now, again, all the news Jitendra is bringing, he's saying that, you know, he will. When he'll come, he'll first bath, then he'll do his meditation, and then the food will be served to him. The next, I was in near collapse. My young stomach, new to deprivation, protested with gnawing vigor. Pictures I had seen of famine victims passed wrought before me. The next Banara's death from starvation is due at once in this hermitage. I thought impending doom averted at 9 o'clock. Ambrosial summons. In memory, that meal is vivid as one of life's perfect act. All these things are coming in his mind that in famine, how people used to die. So the next death will be in this hermitage because the food was not served. So all these crazy things are coming in his mind. Why? Because he's hungry. Intense absorption yet permitted me to observe that Dayananda ate absent-mindedly. He was apparently above my gross pleasure. Swamiji, weren't you hungry? Happily surfeited. I was alone with the leader in his study. Oh, yes, I have spent the last 4 days without food or drink. I never eat on trains filled with heterogeneous vibration of worldly people. Strictly, I observe the Shastric rules of monks of my particular order. So, usually you might have seen priests and saints, they don't eat in public places. So, the reason behind that is, because they are so much into meditations, they are highly sensitive to these things. So, for them, everything is frequency, everything is vibration. It is often said to us also like don't use food, don't use a phone, don't watch television and eat because the vibration changes of the food. Once you concentrate peacefully, you eat your food. You know that has got different vibration. But when once the television is on or you're watching, you're scrolling your phone, the vibration gets disturbed. So he said like he did not eat in public places because there is worldly people vibration. So, certain problems of our organizational work lie on my mind. Tonight at home, I neglected my dinner. What's the hurry? Tomorrow, I'll make it a point to have a proper meal. He laughed merrily. Shame spread within me like a suffocation, but the past day of my torture was not easily forgotten. I ventured a further remark. Swamiji, I'm puzzled, following your instructions. Suppose I never ask for food and nobody gives me any. I should starve to death. Then Swamiji is telling, die then. This alarming counsel split the air. Die if you must, Mukunda. Never admit that you live by the power of food and not by the power of God. He who has created every form of nourishment, he who has bestowed appetite, will certainly see that his devotee is sustained. Do not imagine that rice maintains you or that money or men support you. Could they aid if the Lord withdraws your life breath? They are indirectly instrument merely. It is by any skill of yours that food digests in your stomach. So over here you have seen so beautifully he has said that um, the power of food doesn't govern you. The power of God governs you. And God, who has created you, will make sure that his devotees are nourished. His devotees get what they want. And he's telling that people are only an instrument. It is by any skill of yours that food digests in your stomach. Use the sword of discrimination, Mukunda. cut through the chains of agency and perceive the single cause. I found his incisive words entering some deep marrow. Gone was an age old delusion by which bodily imperatives outweighed the soul. There and then I tasted the spirit's all sufficiency. In how many strange cities in my later life a ceaseless travel did occasion arise to prove the serviceability of this lesson in Banaras Hermitage. The sole treasure which had accompanied me from Calcutta was the sadhu's silver amulet bequeathed to my mother, guarding it for years. I now had it carefully hidden in my ashram room. To renew my joy in the talismanic testimony, one morning I opened the locked box. The seal covering untouched, lo, the amulet was gone. Mournfully, I tore open its envelope and made unmistakable sure it had vanished. In accordance with the sadhu's prediction, into the ether whence he had summoned. We had studied this earlier in the chapters that the sadhus are given to the mother, and they said that once it has served its purpose, it will be gone, it will vanish. So one day, out of curiosity, he just opened that box in which he has kept the silver amulet, and he was amazed that like it was not there. My relationship with Dayananda's followers grew steadily worse. The household was alienated, hurt by my determined aloofness, my strict adherence to meditate on the very ideal for which I had left home, and all worldly ambition called forth shallow criticism on all sides. Like he left his home, and he had this thing like for him the priority was meditation, for which he has left a lot of things. So he was criticized for those things in the ashram. Torn by the spiritual anguish, I entered the attic one dawn, resolved to pray until answer was vouchsafed. Merciful Mother of the universe, teach me thyself through visions or through a guru sent by thee. The passing hours found my sobbing plea without response. Suddenly I felt lifted as though bodily to a sphere uncircumscribed. The Master cometh today. A divine womanly voice came from everywhere and nowhere. So he asked Divine Mother, like, teach me through visions or through Guru, or send me a Guru. So then a voice came, a feminine voice came, and it said, like, thy master cometh today. This supernal experience was pierced by a shout from a definite local, a young priest nicknamed Habu was calling me from the downstairs kitchen. Mukunda, enough meditation. You are needed for an errand. Another day I might have replied impatiently. Now I wiped my tears, swollen face, and meekly obeyed the summons. Together, Hapu and I set out for a distant marketplace in the Bengali section of Banaras. The ungentle Indian now sun was not yet at zenith. As we made our purchase in Banaras, we pushed our way through the colorful medley of housewives, guides, priests, simply clad widows, dignified Brahmins, and ubiquitous holy bulls. Passing an inconspicuous lane, I turned my head and surveyed the narrow lane. A Christ like man in the ochre robes of a Swami stood motionless at the end of the road. Instantly and anciently familiar he seemed. My gaze fed hungrily for a trace. Then doubt assailed me. You are confusing this wandering monk with someone known to you, I thought. So we have seen this earlier. He had visions that about his guru. He had visions like he could see in vision how his guru will look like. So when he saw this person, this man, he was getting confused. Like you are confusing this wandering monk with someone you know. A thought came to him. Dreamer, walk on. After 10 minutes, I felt heavy numbness in my feet. As though turned to stone, they were unable to carry me further. Laboriously, I turned around. My feet regained normalcy. I faced the opposite direction. Again, the curious weight oppressed me. The saint is magnetically drawing me to him. With this thought, I heaped my parcel into the arms of Habu. He had been observing my erratic footwork with amazement, and now burst into laughter. What ails you? Are you crazy? My tumultuous emotion prevented any retort. I sped silently anyway. Retracing my steps as though wing showed, I reached the narrow lane. My quick glance revealed the quiet figure steadily gazing in my direction. A few eager steps, and I was at this feet. Gurudeva, the divine face was none other than he of my thousand vision. These halcyon eyes in leonine head with pointed beard and flowing locks, oft peered through gloom of my nocturnal reveries, holding a promise I had not fully understood. O my own, you have come to me. My guru uttered the words again and again in Bengali, in a voice tremulous with joy. How many years I have waited for you. We entered a oneness of silence. So now the guru's word were like, you have come to me on your own, and how many years I have waited for you. We entered a oneness of silence. Words seemed the rankest. Superfluous eloquence flowed in the soundless chant from heart of master to disciple, with an antenna of ir- irrefragable insight. I sensed that my guru knew God and would lead me to him. The obscuration of this life disappeared in a fragile dawn of prenatal memories. Dramatic time, past, present, and future are its cycling scenes. This was not the first son to find me at these holy feet. My hand in his, my guru led me to his temporary residence in the Rana Mahal section of the city. His athletic figure moved with firm tread, tall, erect, about 55 at this time. He was active, vigorous as a young man. His dark eyes were large, beautiful with plumpness, wisdom. Slightly curly hair softened a face of striking power. Strength mingled subtly with gentleness. As we made our way to the stone balcony of a house overlooking the Ganga, he said affectionately, I will give you my hermitages and all I possess. Sir, I come for wisdom and God contact. Those are your treasure troves I am after. The swift Indian twilight had dropped its half curtain before my master spoke again. His eyes held unfathomable tenderness. I give you my unconditional love. So now the teacher said, his guru said, I will give you my hermitages and all that I possess. Then he said, those are your treasure. I want you, your wisdom, help me to connect to God. Then the teacher said, I will give you my unconditional love. Precious words. A quarter century elapsed before I had another auricular proof of his love. His lips were strange to ardor, silence became his oceanic heart. Will you give me the same unconditional love? He gazed at me with childlike trust. I will love you eternally, Gurudeva. Ordinary love is selfish, darkly rooted in desires and satisfaction. Divine love is without condition, without boundary, without change. The flux of human heart is gone forever at the transfixing touch of pure love. He added humbly, if ever you find me failing, falling from a state of God's realization. Please promise to put my head on your lap and help to bring me back the cosmic beloved we both worship. He rose then in gathering darkness and guided me to an inner room. As we ate mangoes and almond sweet meats, he unobtrusively wove his into his conversation an intimate knowledge of my nature. I was awestruck at the grandeur of his wisdom, exquisitely blended with an innate humility. Now he's saying, will you love me eternally? So he said, no, will you give me unconditional love? Then Mukunda said, I will give you eternal love, Gurudeva. So he's telling usually what human love is like, it is full of selfishness. Even if you see any relationship, it is, there is selfishness. Like there's some desire, there's some satisfaction, which one person expects from the other person. But how is divine love? It is without a condition. It will not change. You just give. The flux of human heart is gone forever at transfixing touch of pure love. Now, Mukunda was just struck with this view, or you can say being with his guru. He was just in awe. Do not grieve for your amulet. It had served its purpose. Like a divine mirror, my guru apparently had caught a reflection of my whole life. You know, it is often said that your teacher, spiritual teacher, will know you, what you have gone through, what desires you had, what expectation you had. The moment the teacher sees you, he will know. So now, same thing happened. His teacher said, "Do not grieve over that amulet. It has served its purpose. The living reality of your presence, Master, is joy beyond any symbol. It is time for a change, in as much as you are unhappily situated in the hermitage. I had made no references to my life. They now seemed superfluous. By his natural, unemphatic manner, I understood that he wished no astonished ejaculations at his clearer voice. So now he had not shared anything with the teacher that where he was staying, he was very unhappy with the behavior of the, people he was staying, how they were mocking him, how they were making fun of him. So he said, it's time for you for a change. You're not happy in that place. So you should go back to Calcutta. Why excluded relatives from your love of humanity? He's saying, why you exclude relatives from your love of humanity? His suggestion dismayed me. My family was predicting my return, though I had been unresponsive to many pleas by letter. Let the young bird fly in the metaphysical skies, Ananta had remarked. His wings will tire in the heavy atmosphere. We shall yet see his swoop towards home, fold his pinions, and humbly rest in family nest. This discouraging smile, fresh in my mind, this discouraging smile, fresh in my mind, I was determined to do not sweeping in the direction of character. So he did not want to go back to Calcutta. Sir, I'm not returning home, but I will follow you anywhere. Please give me your address and your name. Then he said, Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri, my chief hermitage is in Serampur on Raigate Lane. I am visiting my mother here only for few days. I wondered at God's intricate play with his devotee. Serampur is but 12 miles from Calcutta. Yet in those regions, I had never caught a glimpse of my Guru. We had to travel for our meeting to ancient city of Kashi, hallowed by memories of Lahari Mahasya. Here to the feet of Buddha, Shankaracharya, and other yogi, Christ had blessed the soil. You will come to me in 4 weeks. For the first time, Yukteswar's voice was stern. Now I have told my eternal affection and have shown my happiness at finding you. This is why you disregarded my request. The next time we meet, you will have to reawaken my interest. I won't accept you as a disciple easily. There must be complete surrender by obedience to my strict training. So, the first thing what he told him, you should go back to your home where, why your relatives or people in your family are being untouched by the love you have. And then he said, he predicted that, he told him that in next 4 weeks, you will meet me and you have to reawaken my interest. Like he's a strict guru. He's mentioning in these lines, and there must be complete surrender by obedience to my strict training. I remained obstinately silent. My guru easily penetrated my difficulty. Do you think your relatives will laugh at you? I will not return. You will return in 30 days. Now he's saying, like, why you don't want to go? Your relatives will laugh at you. And then he's saying that, I will not return. Then he's saying, you will return in 30 days. Never bowing reverently at his feet, I departed without lightening the controversial tension. As I made my ways to the midnight darkness, I wondered I wondered why the miraculous meeting had ended on an inharmonious note. The dual scales of Maya had balanced every joy with grief. My young heart was not yet malleable to the transforming fingers of my Guru. The next morning, I noticed increased hostility in the attitude of Hermitage members. My days became spiked with invariable rudeness. In 3 weeks, Dayananda left the ashram to attend a conference in Bombay. Pandemonium broke over my hapless head. Mukunda is a parasite, accepting hermitage hospitality without making proper return. Overhearing this remark, I regretted for the first time that I had obeyed the request to send back my money to father. With heavy heart, I sought out my soul friend Jitendra. I'm leaving. Please convey my respectful regrets to the Anandaji when he returns. I will leave also. My attempts to meditate here meet with no more favor than your own. Jitendra spoke with determination. Now, when the teacher Mukundaji left the hermitage, so the people living over there used to, you can say, it's kind of bully. They used to say Mukunda that he's not he's accepting the hospitality of the hermitage, but he's not giving anything in return. So what he did, he made his mind to go back to Calcutta, and he told his friend Jitendra that once Dayananda ji come, you just tell him that I have left for Calcutta. And then Jitendra said, like, it's not just you going, I'll also leave. It's not doing me a favor anymore. I have met a Christ-like saint. Let us visit him in Serampore. And so the bird prepared to swoop perilously close to Calcutta. Yes, the two penniless boys in Vrindavan. So we'll be doing chapter 11 in the next week. I hope you liked this chapter. It was really quite interesting how he met his guru, and beautiful things are happening over there. So yes, thank you for watching the book study session. Have a great day. Bye.